Review of the Gulpha Gorge Campground in Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's near the Hot Springs National Park. The campground is really nice and wooded. There's lots of space, lots of beautiful trees. We were there during the fall, so you can tell a lot of the leaves have actually already fallen, but there's a few left. There's a picnic bench at each of the campsites and a nice concrete pad to park your RV. A lot of big rigs can fit in there. We were one of them. Plenty of room. Pull-throughs on most of them. I think actually they might all be pull-throughs. And just a lot of great space. The entire national park there for Hot Springs has a guided tour where you can call in, and Gulpha Gorge is one of the sites. And the registration station, we actually arrived pretty late towards night, but we were able to find a spot, no problem. Of course, this was off season, but they have information in here about how you need to register and what you need to do. Plenty of maps, different guides for the area, for the hot springs, the actual spa springs portion of it, and then of course information on the national park, different emergency stuff on who you need to contact and what you need to do. And then they have a bunch of educational information. So information about drinking the water, because a lot of people will gather water from the hot springs to drink it. There's things about junior ranger information, maps for the area. There's a whole hiking area that's part of the campground where you can hike around on the mountain there. And then they have a bunch of different information about when you need to check out and where the different sites are located. And when you find the site that you want, you come back here and pay at the fee station, and you can use a credit card. I think it was $30. Not sure on that, but I think it was about $30. And that did include for us some electrical hookups. And they have different Junior Ranger items here too. As I mentioned, it was fall, so there were leaves all over the place, and my kids just loved playing in the leaves. That was one of their favorite parts about being at this campsite. I noticed here that we did have a fire pit. We just didn't actually use it. It was a little bit chilly when we were there at the end of November, so we weren't really sitting outside in the fire, by the fire in the evening. But we did enjoy playing in the leaves and hiking around and exploring while we were there. There's a beautiful river nearby that you can cross. You might even be able to fish in it. It's a nice area to do a little bit of hiking nearby. They also have an amphitheater here, an outdoor one, which they probably use during the summertime and when the weather's a little nicer. This time of year there wasn't a lot of people there, so I'm sure it wasn't open, but you can tell that it's a great place where they probably have ranger lectures and maybe even concerts and stuff during the summer.
We're hiking the Sunset Trail here at Hot Springs National Park. And it's really difficult to capture the immenseness of the forest. The forest is just really quite old and mature trees, and it's just absolutely immense. It still feels very much like fall, even almost to the first week here in December. Our children are leading the pack here, so we're gonna have to move on.
With all of the leaves, we did have to get out the telescopic ladder and clean off the slide outs before we were able to close them. There were not only leaves, but kind of twigs and small branches that had fallen onto the top of the slide out. So that would have not been good if we had closed those and not cleaned that off. So be sure you're prepared to do something like that if it's the fall months. The best part about the Gulpha Gorge Campground is its close proximity to Hot Springs National Park. And given a few of the other campgrounds, I would say that the Gulpha Gorge is the best campground to go to. You just have a lot of open space, and it's not very far. It's probably about a 10 to 15 minute drive, so you're not going to be able to bike over to the national park. But as long as you have a towed vehicle, or you're in a travel trailer, so you have your vehicle, you'll be fine. The park itself is really interesting. You have all these historic buildings and this piece of history where You can tell how great and grand this place was back in its days, and some beautiful elements, architectural elements, and things that were key to items of the time. You can fill the water in a fountain that's outside, and you can even collect some water in different places, including inside of the visitor center. There's some spouts where you can fill up water bottles. There's a beautiful tour of the different buildings, and part of the Junior Ranger program is to go into the different buildings and learn different pieces of information from them. So you can see the beautiful detail on a lot of the rooms. If you have the chance, I highly recommend soaking in the hot springs. They were really nice. They're actually more like pools. They're all indoors. It is not kid friendly, so I think it might be about 16 or maybe it's 14, but it's definitely older. Teenage kids are allowed in, but not young kids. So the way we did it is just exchanged. So my husband soaked for a while, and then we switched off, and I got to soak for a while. So really nice to experience though, and not very expensive. And while the kids cannot soak at the hot springs in the national park, they can do a lot of fun other activities. And the Junior Ranger program is really nicely laid out, and there's a lot of fun steps throughout it and things that my kids enjoyed learning about and seeing. And of course, they need to swear in as Junior Rangers and collect that badge. So hope this was useful, and hope you guys enjoy your trip to Hot Springs National Park and Gulpha Gorge Campground.